When I was 17, I invited the wildest kid in my high school, at his request, to our church. It wrecked him. He never came back to a church to this day, but it wrecked me too. And the holy discontentedness continued to build until in my college years, under the tutelage of Dr. Belazikian, when he was teaching me about the potential of the church, I had my Popeye burning bush experience where God said, Bill, I'm going to take that firestorm of frustration about churches that don't care for people far from God. And I know how much it wrecks you, and I'm just going to harness that and use it because it wrecks me too. And before you know it, we were renting a movie theater in Palatine and selling tomatoes door to door to raise money for Sound and Lights. This event, the Leadership Summit, 10 years ago, my frustration level got so high. I talked to so many church leaders, pastors that I respect and love, pastors who are more committed and better at what they do than me, for sure. And they wanted to get better in their leadership, but there was no event that focused solely on the spiritual gift of leadership. And the frustration just got to a certain level. I had a Popeye moment. Jimmy talked to you about it. I called him in my office. I said, that's all I can stand. I can't stand no more. I'll take time out of my summer study break. I'll drive back to Chicago. Jimmy, I don't care if there's 5 leaders. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. If there's 5 leaders each year for 2.5 days, I'll pour my life into them because I can't live with this holy discontent anymore. The only way I can get rid of it is to get on a vision that speaks to it somehow, and what God does after that is His business, but I can't live like this. I'm going to ask you again. What can't you stand? Do you know? Most of us try to push away stuff that creates firestorms of tension and anxiety in us. Most of us feel the discomfort of that, and we want to medicate it somehow. Rent another movie. We want to go out and jump on a career track that keeps us a little bit disconnected from that firestorm of frustration. But I want to tell you, one of the most important things you can do is to identify the answer to the question, what is it that you can't stand? Is it injustice of some kind? When you're around extreme poverty, does it wreck you? When you see racist behaviors and the effects of prejudice, does it do something inside of you? When you see homelessness, when you see abused children, when you see AIDS, when you see immoral business practices, when you see a dysfunctional, slowly dying church, does it just wreck you? The church that I grew up in that was so dysfunctional finally closed its doors a couple years ago. Put a for sale sign on the property my father had donated, that our family had worked so hard to try to support this building, and it had such great dreams. And when I heard that there was a for sale sign on that building, I drove 3 hours and I sat in front of that building with a for sale sign on it, and it wrecked me. And I wanted it to. I wanted it to just remind me what's at stake when a church dies. And they're dying all over the world. And I ask you the question again. What wrecks you? Crappy music, does that wreck you? Passionless dancing? What about crooked politicians? What about when you watch over-entertained, under-challenged young people drifting further and further and further away from God? What happens when you see groups of young people, aimless and purposeless? Does it wreck you? You better know it wrecks you, because it's probably wrecking God. And He's probably looking for someone who's getting wrecked just like He is. And I don't care how capable you are, how smart you are, how thin you are, how good looking. It's not about that, friends. God's just looking for someone who gets wrecked about what he gets wrecked about. And then he wants to sign you up and give you a vision that will relieve that anxiety in you and get you on the solution side of something. And that will motivate you for a long time. Now let me settle down for a moment, take a chill pill, as my kids tell me once in a while. Can I be very painstakingly practical about this holy discontent thing for just a few moments? Let me give you several observations about it as I've been thinking about it. I don't believe that every time something affects you deeply, that it automatically becomes your God-given calling or your personal assignment. I think as God works in our lives, turning us into fully devoted followers of Christ, turning us into increasingly compassionate people, I think many of society's ills should ring our bells and should break our hearts and prompt us to action of some sort. But I also believe that what we all ought to be looking for is that one cause, that one problem, that one situation that grabs us by the throat and just won't let us go. Stuff that causes so much damage to our soul that it brings us to a Popeye moment where we go, now that one, I can't stand no more. God, do you want me to do something about it? And when your burning bush experience occurs, you'll know it. And God will say to you that, here's why I wired you up the way I did, and here's why you've had some of the life experiences. Here's even why you've had some of the pain that you've had.